Previously on The Murder Game, a group of amateur investigators continued their search for a fictional killer and a £25,000 reward. They cleared the first of 9 suspects, who are all played by actors.
Got it!
And they discovered more clues that will help them solve the crime. Each week, one investigator will be eliminated in the killer's game. Last week, it was Sarita. 8 investigators remain, and with only 3 women left, Meryl, Sam and Mel are concerned that there is a male conspiracy against them.
I do feel it's the boys wanting to get rid of the girls. The boys have bonded well, and I really don't think that they are going to vote for a guy.
It's the next stage of the murder inquiry, and the investigators are talking about the latest evidence. Fingerprint analysis has revealed that murder victim Catherine Pryor broke into Jay Wilmington's houseboat the night before she was killed. And records from Catherine's mobile phone found at the murder scene show that George Howick, the 9th and final suspect, tried to call her the day she was attacked. The chief runs the briefings. Bob Taylor is a real murder squad detective with 30 years experience.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Chief.
Before Andrew and Sarita went out to play the killer's game, they both recorded a last will and testament in which they said who they thought should be the next lead investigator. Let's find out who Sarita has chosen.
I choose Mervyn Merchant to be the next lead investigator because he thinks logically and he will do well.
Mervyn, would you take your seat? Andrew played the killer's game, and he returned and brought back a killer clue. Richard, any ideas?
Pillbox.
Possible antique.
Meryl, a possible antique.
Because Jennifer Wilmington deals in antiques.
Who do you think this might belong to?
Either Catherine or the killer, possibly.
Okay, let's move on.
The chief prepares to set today's lines of inquiry. He's working on important new information about the paternity of Catherine Pryor's daughter, Anya. DNA records prove that Trevor Doby, one of the 8 remaining suspects, is her genetic father.
The first line of inquiry is to see Trevor Doby. Find out if he knows he is the father of Anya. DNA evidence is difficult to deny. Trevor will be at Jennifer's antique shop, and it might be a good idea to show her the antique pillbox and get an expert opinion. We've also discovered from our fingerprinting expert that Catherine broke into Jay's boat. What do you make of that?
She was too frightened to go home. Perhaps she had had an argument with somebody and didn't want to go home, didn't feel safe to go home.
Why would she choose that as a place of refuge?
If she's running scared, then she's not going to go and hide in the boat of the person she's running scared from.
If she chose Jay's boat as a safe place to go, she's certainly not afraid of Jay. Your second line of inquiry is to interview Jay Wilmington. I've received news about Catherine Pryor's telephone records. They give exact timings and phone numbers of calls that she received on the day of the murder. 853-142. There seemed to be a cluster of repeated calls. Have you any ideas who that might be?
We don't have that phone number on our list, and the only person whose phone numbers we don't know at the moment is George Hawick.
Right, George Hawick. He's the only suspect you haven't seen yet. Find out what he knows about Catherine Pryor and why he was ringing her on the day of the murder. Mervyn,
As lead investigator, Mervyn gets to choose who will be in which team. He puts Richard and Merrill in Team 1. They will question Trevor Doby. Team 2 is Nick, Rory and Andrew. They will talk to Jay Wilmington. Mel and Sam are Team 3. They will question the last suspect, George Hawick.
remember, the key to Catherine's death lies in her life. Suspect everyone. Trust no one.
All teams will face tests they have to pass to stay in the game. First out are Rory, Nick and Andrew. They are going to ask Jay Wilmington why the murder victim would break into his boat.
I can't handle it.
But we can't just leave it like this. Seriously, don't let...
Jay Wilmington is one of the 8 suspects. He was supposed to marry the victim's sister, Goldie Pryor, on the day of the murder.
There's the two in there. I'm with Goldie.
But as Team 2 arrive, they face their first hidden test. Jay's fiancée Goldie is with him. She is also a suspect. Team 2 must remember their police training for interviewing multiple suspects.
Did Catherine have a boyfriend?
I don't think at the present time she had anybody special.
No. Was she close to anybody in the past?
She was just, quite cagey about who she was seeing, really. She didn't sort of confide in me in that sort of sisterly way, really, so I never really knew who she was seeing.
Had you mentioned to Jay about the breaking at the boat that we...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
We've done fingerprint tests, and it was Catherine who broke into the boat. So why would she do that?
That's quite surprising.
She stayed on the boat before, Jay, Catherine? Spent any time on the boat?
Yeah, well, she may have stayed once or twice, actually, yeah.
What, she stayed on the boat on her own?
She may have stayed once or twice, actually, yeah, but nothing...
Did you not... And did she ever come alone and stay on the boat as just a port of call, somewhere to stay for the night?
Which is, maybe once or twice or something, but...
Well, why would she stay on the boat then? Why would she break into the boat?
I don't know.
I'm going to have to go. I'm really sorry, but I am going to have to go.
Yeah, cheers.
I'm sorry about that.
Oh, God.
Andrew tries to rescue the situation, but to no avail.
Did you happen to see someone run along here with blonde hair just a couple of minutes?
No, I don't think so. No. Did you?
Did you see someone run along here with blonde hair?
Who is it?
Who is it?
Yeah.
Well, she's just a lady with blonde hair.
Did Catherine often come round?
She did come around a few times, actually.
To confide in you?
Well, no, she was... we were friends, just friends.
She had just a small problem, and we just wanted to speak to her about it and just calm things down. We just need to find out where she is. So you didn't think she went...
No, we haven't seen anyone run. Definitely not.
Right.
Sorry. Hello? Dean? Oh, Dean, where are you? I haven't been able to get hold of you from anywhere.
Fucking old flam on my head.
It's Dean Garrity, Jay's best friend. He's been missing since the day after the murder and has now taken an overdose.
Taking some pills.
Video evidence has shown that he was romantically linked to Catherine. Is his suicide attempt the act of a grieving lover or a guilty man?
Dean, seriously, everything's going to be okay.
So lie.
That was Dean. He's told me he's taken an overdose.
What are you doing, mate?
I've come to help you.
I could trust you.
No, they're just with me. They gave me...
What's going on?
They're not here for you, honestly.
Dean, we're just here to help you. Just get away. Just get away.
Let's go downstairs. Let me quickly shit. Is he breathing?
Okay. Prime suspect Dean is on his way to hospital. Instead of following him, Nick, Rory and Andrew get their tape out. Collect Dean's old cigarette packets and interrogate the stockman.
It's private stock.
Sure.
Right?
Oh yeah, I don't wish to know what's on them. I'm just trying to confirm what the guy's landed on.
It's confirmed. Well, it's pretty
Is it
obvious.
no? But is it videos all through?
Yeah, all through.
Okay.
Richard and Merrill are the next team to leave HQ. They must question Trevor Doby.
This is the best one. Look at that.
Oh, isn't that sweet? Is that your grandmother?
Oh, great grandmother. She's a good-looking woman, though, isn't she?
Well, what's wrong in the family?
Trevor Doby is one of the 8 suspects, a local builder who runs Millfields, the caravan site where Catherine lived with her daughter Anya. But does he know he is Anya's genetic father?
There you go, that's Jennifer, isn't it?
Mrs. Wilmington.
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hello.
How can I help you?
Well, we did really rather like to speak to both of you, if that's all right.
Yes, of course.
I mean, are you going to be here most of the afternoon?
Yes, I'm just around. Yes, why?
Would you mind if we chat to Trevor first? That's okay.
I tell you what,
If
I've
someone
left
else,
my
or-
car on a zigzag thing, so I'll go and move it.
And you'll be coming back?
Yeah, I'll come back.
Okay.
Trevor, just leave those bits there. I'll come back.
Okay.
All right. Is it okay to speak here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with Catherine, like how long you've known her?
10 years or something.
Do you know who Anya's father is? By any
No.
chance? You don't? Did you, just go back to your relationship with Catherine, were you ever partners at any stage? Even briefly, maybe?
Wow.
You were partners, were you?
Well, I won't go that far.
Right, a one-night stand maybe, or?
Yeah, that sort of thing.
This may come a bit of a shock to you, but the reason we ask about Anya's father is that we've had DNA records back which show conclusively that you're actually
What's that about?
Anya's father. That
We've
DNA
been
samples
given
have
a
been taken.
report that your DNA
Yeah.
actually matches that of Anya. So
I'm sorry?
this makes you a father.
So I take it this is a little bit of a shock to yourself.
Yeah, no, that's all right. No.
Are you okay?
So who else have you
Catherine
told
never
this? Hang
told-
on.
No, but
Oh,
Mr.
this is
Baby-
confidential.
Oh,
You're
Mr.
not gonna-
Baby,
you're not gonna
no.
confirm, is it?
No.
No.
I assure you, this is between
Right,
us.
let it all lie
Yeah.
as it is, you know.
Let it sink in.
Don't, sort of.
Yeah.
Jennifer Wilmington returns. This is the test for Team 1. Richard and Merrill must show her the pillbox. It's an important clue from the killer and must be protected.
Yeah. It's a very sweet little box, but it's got an inscription on the bottom.
Well, you won't believe this. This is actually mine.
It's your box.
I reported this missing about a month ago. Can you see what's written on the bottom?
We can, yes.
It's got Death and His Brother, and it's a quote from a Shelley poem.
Right.
Listen, I'll just pop it back in the box.
No, may we keep it just for the moment, please?
Well, can I?
Of course
why?
you can have it back. Well, it's just part of the general inquiry into Catherine's.
Well, I thought if I had, well, at least if I've got it, you know, it's here.
I was going to say the opposite actually. If we've got a list, then you know what you've got, and we will return it.
Yeah, we will keep
as soon
it
as we
so
finish it.
safely.
Well,
and
will you give me a receipt or something for it?
yes,
Certainly.
of course,
Oh, right,
of course I
okay.
will. God, Richard, why was that so easy?
I hate all this waiting around. I hate it. Just that's when you start.
Mel and Sam are still back at HQ with Mervyn. As lead investigator, Mervyn is immune from playing the next Killer's game. More importantly, he gets to pick one person to play and perhaps face the killer.
I've got my feeling of dread back. That he's going to kick me out. Why? Because I don't think he likes the way I work. If I go and do that Killer's game, I swear I'm going to just give it my best shot. I'm going to take my own knife or something, just cut him up.
And with my chances of winning, I think if we went on a skill level, I'd have a very good chance. But the way things are going at the moment, I think the boys are going to gang up against the girls, and I think they're going to get rid of us and they're going to win it.
George Howick.
To win the £25,000, the investigators will have to solve the crime and ensure they're not sent on a Killer's game where they could be eliminated.
Do you want me to type it?
I could delegate that task, yes. Absolutely. Go on. Would you like be a little secretary for me then?
Oh,
yeah?
absolutely.
Good.
Ooh, I don't know if I'm playing the game very well. I'm just doing my job. I'm doing what I'm told.
When it comes down to hopefully having to stand up and pick an individual and say you are going to the Killer's game, that will be purely based on fact, nothing else. So I'm playing the game as a game should be played, as I personally feel the game should be played. When you start bringing personalities into it, then the whole house will start to become corrupt. Thank you, gorgeous.
Finally realising prime suspect Dean Garrity is still to be questioned, Team 2 head for the hospital.
Do you think he's going to die before we get there? Do you think he's going to die today?
When they arrive, they meet Jay, who has his own ideas about what may have sent Dean over the edge.
It's just mad because this is all Vanessa's fault.
Is Vanessa here?
No, she's not here.
Okay.
Anyway, I hope it goes okay anyway.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later.
All right. Okay. Take care, dear.
Help.
Incident room, Mervyn speaking. Yes.
Merv.
Yes, mate.
It's Rory here.
We're at the hospital. We spoke to Jay, who's now left. Well, Dean's still unconscious, so he's in the recovery room.
Right, okay.
Before Jay left, he said that it was all Vanessa's fault, so obviously she's got more to do it than we think.
Yeah, right, mate. Thanks for calling, Ro. When Jay was leaving, he said it's all Vanessa's fault. It's all Vanessa's fault.
But they didn't stop him and say, what do you mean by that?
I don't know.
Vanessa March is Catherine's babysitter. She lives and works at the pub next to the church where Catherine was murdered. She arranged to meet Dean on the day he disappeared and is one of the 8 remaining suspects.
Right, they've got to wait there till he wakes up, so they've got a long day.
Cool.
A long day.
Is there anything suspicious happening around that area this morning?
Team 2 remember the chief's words. Suspect everyone, trust no one.
There's either one in that direction, just past reception, or one through there to the right.
I'll
Alright,
that one, yeah.
All right, sir.
Why did you go and get mugged?
On a hunch, Andrew even follows one man to the toilet. But Team 2's staying power is somewhat lacking. Mel and Sam head off to question the last suspect, George Howick. George George Howick is a retired music teacher. He used to teach Catherine the piano. He lives in isolation on an island reached by a tidal causeway. Team 3's test is to work out if George has an alibi.
Hello, Mr. Howick. Hi. Hello, I'm Special Investigator Melanie Syme, and this is my partner, Samantha Matthews. Hello. Hello, I wondered if I could ask you a few questions involving Catherine Pryor.
Yeah?
Is that okay?
Do you want us to stay out here or should we go inside?
Go inside.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Are you aware that anything has happened?
Of course I'm aware.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you mind if I sit down at all to take these notes?
You can make yourself feel at home, are you?
No, I can stand. It's no problem, Mr. Howick. Can I ask you when the last time it was that you saw Catherine Pryor?
I saw her here, playing the aria from the Goldberg Variations. I don't know whether you know it, by Bach. And she was going to play it that afternoon at her sister's wedding.
Okay.
According to Catherine's telephone records, we have a telephone call that was made from here to Catherine's phone on the morning. Could you explain that phone call for me,
I don't think
please?
on the morning. I think you'll find that
Oh, on the
that was in
afternoon, sorry. Yes,
That
you're
was
correct.
because what had happened, she left here at 10. I know it because she said, I want to go through the piece again. And I said, be careful because you've only got another 20 minutes before the tide comes in and covers the causeway. That has happened to us before. And she's had to stay. And I must admit, I've enjoyed her staying here.
Did you go anywhere with her?
Well, I've got a bit of a bad knee, and she said, you stay here. And then she left.
How long does the tide stay in and cover the causeway for?
Oh, many hours, many hours once it comes in.
Yeah.
It varies, it varies from season to season. And what she was going to do is to practice it at the church, and just before the wedding she was going to phone me and say, yes, or whatever. I was going to talk it through with her, and she never phoned.
Are you satisfied you got everything?
Well, he wasn't prepared to give much away, was he?
No. It just seemed too straightforward.
Is there a problem here?
No, we were just having a look at your boat.
What?
I've never been close to a boat out of water.
Haven't you?
No. It's actually quite unusual, but
I'll give you a ride in it sometimes, right?
fantastic.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
If you're staying.
Yeah, for a while. I think we'll be a while.
I might see you down the pub or somewhere like that.
We'll
see you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
He's fucked Catherine, I'm sorry, but he has had sex with Catherine. That was a dirty old man with a sexual advance.
Look at him watching.
Oh, something very, very shifty about him. Maybe she found out that she was going out with Dean and he got jealous.
Yeah, possibly.
Right, so
We've got to find out how he got off this island. He must have left pretty toot sweet then.
After waiting for 6 hours, Team 2 are finally allowed to talk to Dean.
Hello, Dean.
I wanted to say anything.
Can you tell us why did you feel you needed to take the drink and the drugs?
I had the best few weeks.
What's been happening?
Vanessa's pregnant.
Is it your child?
I don't know.
You take your time, you're all right. Why were you at the shed today?
Doctor! He's arrested.
All right, can you get Sister for me and Dr. Kneebone? All right, Dean, mate. Come on, over you come. Come on, let's pop him over. It looks. Was he shaking? Yeah. I think he's fitted. Okay.
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah, I heard. Vanessa's pregnant.
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Vanessa's pregnant.
Mervyn speaking.
Hi Mervyn, it's Nick.
Hi.
Right, what he said to me before he went into his seizure was Vanessa is pregnant.
Vanessa is...
Yeah.
Hold on, Vanessa is pregnant.
His actual words were, I've had a really rough 3 weeks and Vanessa is pregnant.
Right, okay. Yeah, right, good work, mate. Bye-bye. They've just managed to speak to him. Basically...
Do you want to come in and tell
yeah.
so you don't have
Apparently, he's got so much drugs in him that at any point or any stage he could have a heart attack. So they were only allowed in there for a minute, and the doctor wanted him to leave as soon as they spoke to him. He also said that it might not be, the things that he's saying could be due to him having delirious thoughts because of all the drugs and alcohol in him. So you can't exactly believe what he's saying now at the moment.
But he has said...
But he has said he has a brief conversation, which I haven't got the details of. I just got those brief bullet points from them lot.
You said Vanessa was pregnant.
Oh, sorry, Vanessa's pregnant.
I
That's
was
what he
going to
said.
say,
Sorry.
I don't think Mervyn's been actually as good as I thought he would be. There's information that is being withheld, obviously, so we just don't know all the facts yet.
I don't like the way a lot of the people work in the house. Sort of look out for yourself, basically, because I think at the end of the day, when there's £25,000, they've all got their own tactics that they're going to use.
Team 2 return to the house and recount the adventures of the day.
Oh, God. That's a classic, mate. On the door.
It seems that Andrew, the sheep farmer from Bristol, has been caught sleeping on the job.
They put a lot more work into it than what I do. That's not necessarily because I don't want to do it. It's because the technical stuff I've not been used to, whereas the rest of the team in all their jobs have probably had to do a fair amount of written work, as I don't. And also their eyesight is much better than mine. I can't see the numbers on the mobile phone.
Because it was also tense, like, innit? And he was speaking like, "Fuck, you see, it has been really, really quiet, Pete." Then we got told off for chatting to the other patients. Oh, Andrew did? Yeah. The one that we were the most suspicious of. Oh, God. When this guy goes to the toilet, I nodded at Andrew, like, follow him. He went in the toilet after him. And then the surgeon, when we came back, the surgeon came over and started telling us off for intimidating the patients. We're just too suspicious of everyone.
Every night, the investigators share the information they've gathered over the day. As lead investigator, it's Mervyn's responsibility to chair this case conference.
Now that you know all the suspects, what sort of motive would they have for the murder?
Goldie Pryor.
Goldie Pryor.
Thinks that Jay's having a relationship with her sister.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Okay. So.
I've got to agree with Goldie, but also Vanessa. Vanessa's got a very strong motive as well. If she is pregnant with Dean's baby, and Dean obviously fancies or in love with Catherine off the scene would be very convenient for Vanessa.
So with Vanessa, do you think it's a jealousy thing? So it's jealousy
and insecurity.
I'm sure there's something about, I mean, I can't quite think which character, but I'm sure there's something about money going on.
Andy?
I have no view at this time.
Okay.
Well, I'm definitely not holding back on information. I don't have any. But the others, I wouldn't have said so. I wouldn't have said so. I haven't noticed it anyway, even if they are.
Where's everyone disappeared to?
Male bonding.
Well, we're girl bonding. Let's just hope we pass.
Yeah, but then there's still Mervyn's phone. That's right.
Merv wouldn't pick you two.
I think you can get surprising at any time now.
What about golf? You play golf? No, I'm going to play golf because there's 1 or 2 who've dropped out of the cricket.
You play golf, innit, Rob?
If another girl goes tomorrow, I will be seriously pissed off.
It's like I said, though, you don't know who's tactically playing here.
Oh, dear.
I haven't got a clue who I'll vote for tomorrow, actually. All I know is it won't be either of you.
With the boy-girl divide more marked than ever, it's time to turn in for another day. The killer has hacked into the computer at HQ and left a message. It's 2 more locations for the next killer's game.
I'd scare the living daylights out of you.
And basically, he's been in the house.
The green silos.
Later, 2 investigators will search for the killer's clue. One of them will not come back. Catherine Pryor's killer remains at large, and as the victim's tangled love life emerges, many questions remain. Did George Howick follow Catherine off his island? Was the victim's daughter Anya the result of an innocent one-night stand, as Trevor Doby suggested, or was there more to their relationship? Will best man and prime suspect Dean Garrity pull through? And what bearing does Vanessa March's pregnancy have on the murder of her friend?
Morning.
Good morning.
Right. Let's have a look at yesterday's lines of inquiry. Team 1, Merrill and Richard. You went to see Trevor. Did you actually tell him that Anya was his daughter?
Yes, we did.
How did he react to that?
He seemed sort of quite chuffed that, I've got a child, but then he did not want anybody to know.
Do you think he actually knew and all that was an act?
Didn't appear to.
It's very hard to tell.
What was your gut instinct on it?
My gut instinct was that he didn't know.
I agree with that as well.
Let's move on. Team 2. You went to see Jay Wilmington at his boat.
Jay was very surprised when he found out that it was Catherine that had broken in, that she hadn't attempted to contact him to just say, can I come and stay?
What do you think, Andrew?
I thought it was very suspicious, Chief. I mean, he's got a woman coming to stay on his boat. He hasn't told his fiancée. I mean, my gut feeling about it, he was lying about that.
Let's move on to Team 3. Samantha and Mel, you were asked to go and interview George Howick. How did you go on?
He seemed a bit obsessive over Catherine, like with their love of music. When he was explaining what they were like, he almost had a bit of a twinkle in his eye.
So what was your gut feeling about this passion? Was it a passion for music that he shared?
I'd say it was both. He could have quite possibly followed her to the church to obsess about her playing.
So he doesn't have an alibi?
Only the tide.
If he was cut off by the tide, would he have an alibi?
No,
Why, Samantha?
because he could have got off
How?
with his boat.
Right.
The chief now assigns each team today's lines of inquiry.
Team 1. You must organise an aerial recce of the crime scene and the surrounding area to see if anything can be seen from the air which might not be visible from the ground. Team 2. I want you to go see Vanessa March. Find out everything she knows about Dean and her role in his breakdown. Team 3. I want you to organise a press conference in the function room of the pub behind the church. This publicity could help you, so work with the media. But don't give too much away. Any questions?
No.
Off you go.
First out are Richard and Merrill. They'll carry out an aerial recce of Catherine's last movements the morning she was attacked. They know she was seen by George Howick walking across the causeway at 10 a.m. She was next seen half an hour later by Tina Wells, the vicar's wife, at the church 5 miles away.
Tracks off the track there. I don't know if that's worth noticing.
Yeah, I just don't know.
I don't know what we're looking for at all.
Yeah, she had to make that journey in those 30 minutes. So I don't see her sort of, personally don't see her going off route or anything else like that.
Somebody was waiting en route, or I don't know.
Yeah, but if they're waiting off route to do what? She was murdered in the church, so...
From the air, it's become obvious that Catherine couldn't have walked from the island to the church in just 30 minutes.
Early church is just out to my right-hand side, I think.
And that's, do you think that's the old rectory, that large house?
Yeah, I do, so that's where Team's place is.
Well, I hope we're not missing something so obvious.
We just go around once more,
Yes, certainly.
Mel and Sam are getting ready for their line of inquiry. They must stage a press conference, and Mervyn's got some advice.
All you need to do, you're interested in her last movements, aren't you? Up until the church, if anybody saw her. But anything that happens after she enters the church has got nothing to do with anybody.
That's right.
Because we know that information, that's sensitive information that only we know and the killer knows. But think of ways that you can say like no, but in like a polite way, but not giving off anything from it.
No comment.
No comment if you want. If you want to keep it simple, no comment.
Sam and Mel set off to the press conference to publicise Catherine's last movements. They hope it will bring forward key witnesses, but they are in for a rough ride with a tricky test.
Oh, this is going to be nerve-wracking now.
The press will ask a series of questions. Sam and Mel should answer all except one. But will they spot the question they should not answer?
Can the investigators say what happened in that? I mean, was it a brutal attack?
That is information that we cannot disclose at this time.
Was she sexually assaulted?
I cannot disclose any information like that. I've got a brief. What we are here to investigate is Catherine's last movements.
So do you think she was followed up the church? I mean, somebody was in the bushes or something?
I can't answer that at
There's
the
a
moment.
rumour going around that you found something in a sluice pond. Would that possibly be the murder weapon?
Again, it's just questions that we are unable to answer at the moment.
What was the murder weapon?
Again, we can't disclose
So you
anything
can't actually
like
tell
that.
us anything, really?
Give us some clues as to what on earth went on.
Today we're not here to talk about that. We were here to talk about the final steps of Catherine
But you've got to
prior.
help us.
Yeah, I am trying to give you as much information
So what's the
as I
purpose of this
possibly
conference if
can.
you can't really tell us anything?
Once again, I know it's very frustrating, and thank you for
Goldie,
bearing
can I
with
ask you, how close were you to Catherine?
Really close. There are rumours that you were arguing over a boyfriend.
Well, you know, we argue like any sisters will argue, but we were close.
Was Catherine close to your fiancé?
Yeah.
How would you describe their relationship?
They saw each other without you.
He was a sister, though.
So you weren't jealous of your sister at all then?
No.
Catherine, you and your sister look very much alike. Do you think this was a case of mistaken identity? Do you think you
All right, that's it. I'm sorry, but I'm stopping this here. You've gone too far now.
Did Catherine miss her mother?
We're going. We're going.
That was horrendous. Oh, don't worry about it. If it wasn't that, we'd probably fail on something else anyway. I wonder who we'll pick for eviction. I don't know.
Richard and Merrill have established that Catherine must have been given a lift to the church the morning she was murdered. But there is still an important piece of evidence to find. This is today's test for Team 1.
Okay, so that's
Something
a
on
little
that
test.
tree there. What's
Oh, what tree?
What is that? Trees in the middle. Something
Good
red.
call. Yeah.
Oh, I see. There's something red on that tree there. Yes.
Photograph.
Felt the blood inside.
Yeah. Just see if there's anything else in your pockets or anything. We request a closure.
Roger Wells and Tina Wells.
So we assume this may well be Tina Wells'
Yeah.
jacket.
She had a green jacket on the day.
She did, but she could have changed. That was bloody lucky. Well done.
Rory, Nick and Andrew are last to leave HQ. They're going to question Vanessa March.
So who's coming in later then?
Well, I'm not too sure. Hopefully it'll be the same crowd as the last.
Vanessa March was Catherine's friend and babysitter. She's been accused of being the cause of Dean Garrity's problems.
Can you tell us when was the last time that you saw Dean Garrity?
I saw him last Monday.
Okay. What's your relationship with Dean?
We've sort of been seeing each other for a little while.
When did you start seeing Dean?
It's been about a month now, I think.
Okay.
Really, just over
And it's going well?
maybe. I won't exactly say well, not anymore, but you know.
Had you gone out with him time to time prior to going out with him the last month permanently?
Pardon?
Had you been going out with him over a period of time occasionally, or it's just been like a permanent thing the last month?
Yeah, like I said before, but
Do you know any reason why Dean would be really distressed enough to take the tablets? Has anything happened in the last few days that's really upset him?
well, aside from Catherine being murdered, I don't know if this has got a lot to do with it, but like last Monday, he went on an errand for me to the chemist to buy a pregnancy test because I was a little bit too embarrassed to buy it myself. And then I told him that it was positive when it's negative. So
Was that last Monday morning?
yeah, he went last Monday.
Okay. You told him it was positive and it was negative. Why would you do that?
What do you think? You know, stupid really, but you know, I just wanted him to pay some attention to me really after this kind of being going a bit funny.
Has he not found out that it is negative? So he does believe that you're pregnant still?
Yeah. I don't know when I'm going to tell him. I suppose I ought to now really.
Realising that Dean could now have an alibi, Team 2 go to the chemist to verify Vanessa's story.
Do you have any record, any way that we can find out what time this was purchased? It was Monday.
It depends how it was purchased. The only thing we might keep is a credit card.
There you go. Found it? There's one. We're having it confirmed, the credit card records, but it looks like if Dean bought it, then he's got an alibi because he bought that pregnancy testing kit at 1 minute to 12, so that means he couldn't have been anywhere near the murder scene.
They ring Mervyn to request copies of each of the suspects' signatures before heading back to base. Mel and Sam arrive back from the press conference.
Went in and I'd got it all written down what we were going to say, and then it never worked out like that. You know what the murder weapon is, don't you? Why can't you tell us what the murder weapon is? Come on, what is it? And I said, I'm sorry, we cannot disclose. You can't or you won't. I says, I believe I've already answered that.
Come on. Been in the team with Sam and working with her because she's so outspoken and she's so quick to answer things and to do things. It makes me look like I'm not doing anything. And so then when we come back to report everything to our lead investigator, she's got everything to say. I think if it comes down to the crunch and me and Sam are the only ones up for eviction, everyone's going to vote for, you know, Sam to stay in over me because everyone's going to think that I didn't do any work.
At the nightly case conference, Team 2 discussed Dean's alibi with the rest of the investigators.
And looking on the credit records for that morning, he'd used his credit card to buy it at 11:59, which means he couldn't have not, if it was him for definite that was there. I mean, we're waiting for confirmation of that credit transaction. If it was him, it's his alibi.
So that needs to be followed up.
Is that whose signature is that?
That is Vanessa Marsh's
That's the
alleged
same
fault.
signature as the receipt.
There you go. That's just come this evening.
That gives Vanessa an alibi.
Richard is correct. The proof of signature from the bank shows that it was Vanessa who was at the chemist, not Dean. Vanessa March is the second suspect to be cleared. At the end of the case conference, the investigators are faced with 3 new questions. They found a coat covered in blood. It seemed to belong to Tina Wells, the vicar's wife, who claims she found Catherine bleeding to death in the church. But is she telling the truth? Catherine didn't walk, so how did she get from the causeway to the church? And why did Vanessa need to cover for Dean Garrity? It's time for the final briefing.
Right, it's time to choose the two investigators who are going out to play the killer's game tonight. One of you will return with a clue from the killer. The other will not come back.
Based on their performances in the tests, the chief decides who has passed and failed.
Team 1, you discovered the red Mac. Who spotted it first?
Merrill did.
I did.
You spotted it, Merrill?
Yes, Chief.
From the helicopter?
Yes.
That was good work.
I hope so.
We've sent it off for forensic examination and we are still awaiting the results. On day 1, you went to interview Trevor Dobin at Jennifer's antique shop. You dealt with the situation in a very sensitive way and remembered what you'd been taught at training school about separating witnesses. You also took the pillbox, the killer clue, to find out what Jennifer could tell you about it. Let's take a look.
Listen, I'll just toss it back in the box.
No, may we keep it just for a moment, please? It's just part of the general inquiry.
You seized the initiative, Merrill, and you wouldn't let her have it back, and neither did you disclose where we got it from. Let me tell you, Merrill, over the last 2 days of this investigation, you have performed the best of all the investigators in the room.
Thank you.
So, Merrill and Richard, I'm passing you on your lines of inquiry.
So Richard and Merrill will not be up for the group vote tonight.
Team 2, Nick, Rory, Andrew, let's talk about your lines of inquiry. You went to see Dean, which has subsequently eliminated Vanessa March. Well done. But let's talk about day 1, when you went to see Jane Wilmington.
We've done the fingerprint test, and it was Catherine who broke into the boat.
Had she stayed on the boat before, Jay? Catherine spent any time on the boat?
She may have stayed once or twice, actually, yeah, but, you know, but nothing.
Did you not?
What were you doing? These were 2 suspects. This was sensitive information. What were you taught at training school? Separate suspects. What have you got to say?
At the time, we thought that was an awkward situation, but then it led to us having a very clear understanding of their relationship to each other and also to Catherine.
I'm not sure it was a very good thing to do at all, Nick, because next time you speak to Jay, he might run a mile. He will be concerned if Goldie's there, what you are going to say in front of her. So, Nick, Rory, Andrew, I'm failing you on your lines of inquiry.
Rory, Andrew and Nick can all be voted for.
Team 3, Mel and Samantha. On day 1, you went to see a new suspect, George Howick, who lives on Northey Island. When I asked you if George had got an alibi, Samantha, you said no, because you said he could have got off the island with a boat. That was good deduction. On day 2, you staged a press conference. Did you work out what you should or should not have said? Let's take a look.
Was it a brutal attack?
That is information that we cannot disclose at this time.
Was she sexually assaulted?
I cannot disclose any information like that. I've got a brief. What we are here to investigate is Catherine's last movements.
What was the murder weapon?
Again, we can't disclose
So you
anything
can't actually
like
tell us
that.
anything, really?
What were you doing? What have you got to say?
We thought we weren't giving any information out to them. We were supposed to give them the last steps.
I said work with the media, don't give too much away, not don't tell them anything. You could have told them Dean was in hospital. You could have said it was an isolated incident with no reason to believe it's connected with anything else. You could have eliminated it as a sex attack because we've no reason to believe that either. You actually told them nothing. I can see the headlines tomorrow. Bungling police know nothing. So Mel, Samantha, I am failing you on your lines of inquiry.
Sam and Mel will also face the vote, so 5 investigators are up for the group vote. The group cast their votes secretly, one by one.
Richard, who are you voting for tonight and why?
This evening, based on what evidence we've seen just now, I'm going to vote for Nick. And that's on the basis that he was a team leader. He could have easily separated his 2 suspects, which was a prime rule.
Tonight, Chief, I'm voting for Andrew, because for a while now I've felt that he hasn't quite pulled his weight as much as the others.
Tonight I'm voting for Rory, because Rory, I think, doesn't quite fit with the team and needs a lot more guidance than I'd expect to give.
I'm voting for Mel. She's a little bit timid in a situation. She gets easily frightened.
At this point, Nick, Rory, Andrew and Mel each have 1 vote.
I'll be voting for Mel because I think when they were doing the press conference, Sam was trying to make a bit of an effort, but Mel just sort of sitting back.
I'm going to vote for Andrew. He just doesn't put any work in.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to vote for Andrew. Nothing bearing on his personality. It's just that I feel that there are investigators in the group that probably have a bit stronger investigative skills than Andrew.
Is there anything else?
I'd just like to say, Chief, that I'm not very happy with the decision tonight. We worked very hard at that press conference. We did ask our lead investigator for advice and guidance, and we followed that advice and guidance, and hence the fail. Just for the record.
The first person to play the killer's game tonight will be Andrew. The second person to play the killer's game will be chosen by the lead investigator.
Mervyn has been leading the teams, and with power comes responsibility. Now he has to decide who the group can afford to do without.
The person I'm choosing is Sam. She should have prepared a team to go into something as important as a press conference.
Thank you, Mervyn.
The 2 locations for the killer's game are in sealed blank envelopes. The lethal location is predetermined and locked in a safe. The chief has no idea where the killer will be waiting. Sam and Andrew now have to choose.
Andrew, would you like to choose first? Samantha. Andrew?
Deserted railway, Chief.
Samantha?
The grain silos.
Good luck. You're going to need it.
I told you there's some sort of strategy going on, didn't I? I said I'd be very, very surprised if we picked a boy.
Oh, well.
It's not an oh well, though. And what was his words? Don't tell them anything about the suspects, don't say anything about the weapon.
Don't tell him anything.
Don't tell him anything. And then he goes and fells you on it.
That's tough, boy. I see that voice is shaking there. I was fucking nervous for you.
You were shaking, Mer. You were a bit upset about it. I know it's a difficult thing to do, but it's got to be done, that.
It's got to be done.
It's got to be done.
Hi, babes.
Hiya. I think they know, obviously.
I don't know.
Yeah.
big time. And we should not have failed on those
I've
lines
just
of
got such
inquiry.
faith in Sam.
I do,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's where
no.
I've picked. It's got nothing to do with my skill or anything like
No,
that.
I know, but I've got faith in you tonight. Babe, you'll be back.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do.
And then there were 7. Sure, boy. Thanks for your help.
You don't worry about it, old fella. Look after yourself. Yeah, you will.
Look after yourself, big man.
Yeah.
Cheers, boys.
Oi, Andy.
Yeah.
Try not to shit yourself like last time.
As they head off to 2 separate locations, both are hoping to find a clue. Only one will find it, the other will meet the killer.
This is doing my head right here.
Once again, Andrew defies the killer and returns the hero, but not everyone is happy.
We can't get rid of you.
With Sam now eliminated, the chances are that Mel will be the next lead investigator, which could spell trouble for Mervyn.
I'm feeling that the game's changed. I'm feeling that it's now a personal thing. I'm feeling that I should watch my back. And I'm feeling that, what the chief says, trust nobody.
Next week on The Murder Game, Catherine's body is finally laid to rest. Forensics confirmed the murder weapon, and a secret search at the Wilmington house offers up a grisly secret. For more on the investigators, turn to BBC 3 Now for Inside HQ. Digital viewers press red to play The Murder Game Interactive. See the killer's clue brought back by Andrew and see if you can solve the case.
And next week's programme is later at 10:30.